Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the Vampire Diaries Season 5, Episode 14, No Exit. And this was another great episode. I felt that definitely they're starting to wrap up some things in this episode. That's my only complaint, that I don't really like that they're wrapping up things. However, this still was one of the best episodes of the season by far. I really liked a lot of the scenes in this episode. There were some really great performances in this episode too. And I just really enjoyed it. So let's just get to it. So, if you remember in the last episode, Damon became this kind of vampire cannibal. Well, in the very beginning, we see what that's all about. I also like how the Vampire Diaries lately hasn't had, 3 separate plots. They've had, one consecutive plot, but there's other stuff around it, but it's basically one consecutive plot. I've kind of liked that with these last 2 episodes. It's going to be interesting to see if they continue that. So at a rundown house, we see blood lead up the steps. Enzo and Damon, they're in the house and seem to have eaten the family within. They mock the couple they've dined on. Enzo had turned the man of the house and he wakes up and guzzles a bag of blood. Enzo tells him that Damon will explain more about being a vampire. He asks where the wife is. He says she left him years ago. Then Damon eats the newly minted vampire. Enzo says he won't abandon Damon since it was his fault that Doc made him a vampire cannibal. Now, meanwhile, we see Stefan and Katherine. You know, he thinks she's Elena, but she's actually Katherine. He's kind of starting to get a little suspicious of her, and he's actually quizzing her for her history quiz, and she ends up citing a fact from the 1600s, and he looks very, just baffled by her saying this, but, you know, since she's Katherine, you know, she's like, oh shit, I gotta cover this up. You know, she plays it off as a paper she wrote in high school. And she did a good job with it. You know, I gotta say, Catherine Pierce is a great actress because she's doing a great job. You know, the character of Catherine Pierce, obviously she's a great actress because she's doing a great job as acting like Elena. She's doing a great job of that. Definitely. And I mean, Nina Dobrev is amazing, but I'm just saying that the character of Catherine Pierce is is doing a great job at pretending to be Elena. So, Caroline knocks on the door. And she comes in and tells him his brother is off the rails. All the victims Damon is feeding on were decapitated and dissected. They realize he's eating vampires. They realize Wes has infected Damon with the secret formula. She killed Jesse when he turned cannibal, but she doesn't want to kill Damon, and she's surprised to see Elena there. So Tyler calls Caroline and asks if she's talked to Matt. He tells her Nadia has been compelling him and now he's missing. Catherine listens in, volunteers to come help Caroline. She turns him down. Catherine makes a plan to go with Stefan to look for Damon. Caroline tells Stefan that she'll be okay with Tyler, but then grills him about why he's hanging out with Elena. When she said she was going to get back with Damon, she doesn't want Stefan to be caught in the Elena-Damon drama, so he says he'll be fine. So Catherine calls Nadia and tells her she's been found out. She tells her mom that Tyler gave Matt vervain and he knows about Catherine. So Nadia kidnaps him and is letting the vervain get out. So she can recompel him. Catherine wants him dead at this point because he knows the secrets, so she wants him dead. So she's not at risk. She tells Nadia she's going out of town with Stefan for a few days, even though she doesn't give a damn about finding Damon. She just cares about Stefan. That's all she cares about right now. All she cares about is getting with Stefan. That's all she cares about. Nadia's very worried that she'll slip up and Stefan will figure out she's not Elena. So Matt tells Nadia that he'll keep the secret as long as she doesn't kill any of his friends. She reaches for the syrup and he flinches, but then then tells him to calm down. We kind of see a more humane side of Nadia in this episode. We see that she really does have feelings for Matt. We see that a little later on, but I really like seeing that side of Nadia. I thought it was interesting to see kind of a more humane side of her rather than the side we saw of her in Total Eclipse of the Heart. So Damon sets up the victims up in the chair with his head back on it, and Enzo says it looks like he's playing with dolls. They decide to head to New York to play, but then the travelers are there locking them into the house. Then Wes is there, says he needs to do some testing on his patient Zero. He says he's going to keep them in the house to see how long Damon can hold out before he eats Enzo. Catherine and Stefan, they stop for gas. She complains about his tiny antique sports car. He tells her she doesn't have to come help. She says she's doing it for him because she knows he still thinks Damon can be saved. He's surprised because she's always had faith in Damon, and she says the emotional roller coaster of Damon's redemption is exhausting and she needed off of it. She asks for food to distract him. He leaves and she pops the engine open, yanks out a part to disable the car. Damon tries to bust his way through a window. Enzo tells him to give it up. He says the travelers sued the house up tight to make sure they'd be stuck there so he can eat him. Enzo reminds him that the lessons he taught him when they were in captivity told him to stay calm. He tells Damon to call Stefan or someone else. Damon refuses and Enzo asks if his life is worth his pride. Damon says he won't eat him and says he'll find another way. So Caroline meets Tyler at his house. She jokes about the awkward silence, and they talk about Matt. Tyler says he hasn't been home in 2 days and isn't answering his phone, but then he walks through the door with Nadia, right behind Matt, who invites Nadia in, and tells him a long story where he's been, but he's been with her. So Stefan works on the car and says they can't go anywhere until they get a new hose. They can't get anywhere until they get a new hose. She rubs some grease on her shirt when he's not looking and pretends that she's upset about it. She also rubs it on her face, and he jokes about it. She suggests they get a room and clean up while they're waiting on the car to be fixed. He says he should wait with the car, and she asks him to just leave his number and bring her bag along. Stefan agrees and says he'll be right there. How can Stefan not tell that this is not Elena? Elena's never this sexual. Catherine's being very sexual around him, especially in the next scene that we see. We'll talk about that in a second. But, Matt pours a drink and tells his friends that Nadia apologized for compelling him and snapping his neck, so they took off on a road trip. They're pretending to be in a quickie relationship. He reassures Caroline that Nadia isn't compelling him and shows off his Vervain bracelet. Caroline blows up, and then Nadia tells her she's being a hypocrite since her recent romantic choices have been questionable. She directs us to Tyler, so he thinks about Caroline hooking up with Klaus. He ends up stomping out. So Stefan asks Elena, who is, Stefan asks Katherine if she packed her whole closet, and she says she didn't know how long they would be gone. Pours him a drink. He tells her that when he was in love with her was down to the atom and it can change her life. He says Damon is feeling the void that is the lack of her love, and that's the problem. She pretends to understand and offers him a refill, but he heads off to wash up instead. So at this point, Enzo's prepared to chain Damon up to a chair and stop him from eating him. Damon tells him the travelers in West won't let him out until one of them kills the other. Enzo tells him to quit giving up, and then when Damon has a problem, he runs. He says Damon did to him and Elena. Damon says he destroys people, and Enzo says they're not that fragile. So once he has Damon chained up, Stefan calls Stefan calls Damon, but Katherine calls. She fakes concern. Enzo tells her that he's got trouble with Damon, and Katherine acts surprised that Damon is infected, and Damon speaks up and tells him not to come. She says to text the address to her phone, and they'll be there as soon as possible. So Damon's straining against the chains. Wes shoots through the door to get Enzo's blood going to whet Damon's appetite. Damon breaks the chains to come for him. Enzo struggles with him as Damon dines on his neck and begs him to stop. So Damon begs him to go so he doesn't kill him, and he heads off with the doctor. Here is where we start to see a definitely more sexual side of Katherine. And by the way, this music that was playing in the background for this scene was like porno music. I was actually laughing at this scene because I'm like, is this the Vampire Diaries or porno? That's what it sounded like. It sounded like porno music. That's literally what it sounded like. Katherine showers as Stefan tells her the car is ready. She says she'll be right there and comes out in a towel. She asks him to hand her a shirt, and he does. She leaves the bathroom door cracked while she toys with her hair, drops the towel, slips on the shirt, and Stefan can't stop from taking a peek. He's literally staring at her. This is where it started to feel like a porn. It was actually, kind of funny. She comes out of the bathroom, stands near him, touches his arm, turns and looks at her steadily. I thought they were just going to go at it right then and there. They were just going to have sex right then and there, but that's not what happened. She takes control, kisses him deeply, tells her they can't and that it's wrong. He says she and Damon just split up, and she apologizes and says she was just caught up in the moment. Stefan tells her they have a long night ahead of them, and she tells him to go get to the car. While she packs. So once he's gone, she smiles, very pleased with herself and her progress. She calls Nadia and asks if she thinks Stefan loves Damon or Elena more. She tells her daughter that Damon has been infected with the Ripper virus and is thinking of getting Damon to attack her so Stefan will kill his brother. She says she's still working on to Matt. So Matt asks Nadia why she's putting up with Katherine's obsession with Stefan. He tells her his mom used to ditch him all the time. Here's where things actually get pretty interesting. Nadia told him that the problem was that he forgot all the bad stuff his mom did. And while this is happening, she says that, all the bad stuff his mom did because he loved her just like she loves Katherine. Now, by doing this, she takes his wrist, bites it, says the verving is gone, so they're done. But then he tells her he's going to forget it anyway. But then he kisses her. And she asks why, and he says if he's going to be kidnapped. He pushes her down, and while they're making out, he steals her phone, texts her for help to Katherine. It looks like she sees him and demands to know what the hell he's doing. So Matt tells Nadia that Elena will be a priority, and he tells her she's a better person than Katherine. She compels him to forget everything he's not supposed to know, except for the sex and fun. She goes to leave and is confronted by Caroline. And it was Caroline that he texted, not Katherine. She brawls with Caroline, but then Tyler comes in, takes her down. Nadia runs out, and Matt is utterly confused. So Katherine shows up with Stefan and Damon, assumes it's Elena. He begs them not to come in and says he almost killed Enzo. She tells Damon that Enzo texted her, and she says that... he's not afraid of, says that they're there to help, and Stefan says he's not afraid of him, and Damon struggles, and eventually he attacks her. Stefan tries to get him to stop and begs Stefan to stop. She tells Stefan he's going to kill him instead of attacking Damon. Stefan cuts his own arm and lures her away, and when he turns, Stefan snaps his brother's neck, so Katherine's plan didn't entirely work. And then we got a really nice scene here with Katherine and Damon. It seemed very genuine. We know Katherine really doesn't give a shit about Damon, but it seemed very genuine. She comes in and told her that, she picks up a piece of glass, cuts her palm, says if he can't resist it, he can overcome the virus, and she tells him if he loves her, he can overcome it. So then Caroline tells Tyler that Matt can only remember that he slept with Nadia and the rest is gone. Tyler apologizes to her, but she told him they can get past it, but he really says he's not ready to. And I like the way Tyler handled this. He wasn't douchey or anything. He just simply said, I don't think I can forgive you for sleeping with the guy who killed my mother. He didn't say like, you bitch, you slept with my mother, I can never forgive you for that. No, he was pretty much just like, I can't really forgive you for that. It was kind of just, you really can't do that. I like the way that was handled. I like the way that was handled, so I enjoyed that scene. I thought that was done very well. So they've got Damon back at the Salvatore house, locked up in the cell. He tells Stefan that if he brings home rabid animals, he's going to get bit. He tells Stefan that he's going to kill him, and he says he's not afraid of a Ripper since he invented the world, and he feels the same way. So Damon tells him Elena has given up on him. He tells him he saw Elena kick Stefan a steak while he was at her throat. He tells him clearly that Elena wants Stefan to kill him. He locks his brother in a cell and then goes. So Damon's now in the cell again, and I think he pretty much needs this because he needs to kind of cope with himself, and I like that we kind of got this Damon Ripper thing done. I really liked it, but it was kind of extreme for the Vampire Diaries. It seemed something more like you'd see on like True Blood or one of those more graphic shows. It didn't really seem like something the Vampire Diaries did well, but they actually did it pretty well in my opinion. I thought they did a really nice job of it. So Katherine meets Nadia at the diner, says she needs a steak. Nadia asks if Damon's dead. Katherine says not yet, but she had a moment with Stefan. She's happy about it. She says it's only a matter of time. And Nadia says it sounds like she's going to get everything she wants, and Katherine asks about Matt. She shows her the hybrid bite, and Katherine knows that means her daughter's under a death sentence, and Katherine is horrified by this. And then we get the best scene of the episode. This was by far my favorite scene of the episode, because Stefan finds Caroline by the fire getting boozy. She tells him he was right that she's suffering consequences for the Klaus thing. She tells him that Nadia's been compelling Matt, and shows him the text Matt sent that just said, help Katherine. So they start to think, who could be, it's basically said, help Kay. So they're trying to think, who could help Kay be? And she doesn't know what Nadia made him forget. So she asks about Elena and Stefan, says she's been acting strange, and he explains the whole breakdown hotel room shower thing. And Caroline says she doesn't get it because it would destroy Damon. And he tells her that Damon said Elena wanted him dead. So Stefan thinks that maybe Katherine could have hijacked Elena's body. Now, Caroline says that they would have noticed because they know her, but then she thinks, oh my god, because maybe she knows the whole, what happened to Matt. Maybe she knows about that. And that's the way the episode ends. So now they know that Katherine is in Elena's body. The question is now, what is going to happen now that they know this? I'm really interested in seeing this. I think it's going to be really cool to see what's going to happen here now that they know that she is basically, she did this. She went into Elena's body. I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen there. But let me know what you guys saw this episode. My opinion, I thought it was one of the best episodes of the season. Not the best, but still a great episode. Now they know that Katherine is Elena. What's going to happen? Do you think they're going to find a way to get Elena back? Definitely. I think that's what they're going to try to do. What's going to happen to Damon? I really like him trying to kind of start over things and try to get over Elena. I really enjoyed seeing that. Also, what's going to happen to Nadia? Do you think she's going to be okay? And also Nadia and Matt. Do you think they might start something in the future? I don't know. It seemed like they had something, but I don't know. That's it for my review. And also, what do you think of Tyler? Do you think he handled things right with Caroline? I think he did. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.